Actually, that's not how your feelings work. You're angry all the time because you've not resolved that sense of loss, injustice, and whatever else you felt at the time. You still carry those feelings inside you. Like a lot of people, though, you avoid those feelings and do all you can to distract yourself from thoughts that might return you to those emotions. Look how angry you got, and how quickly, when you mentally revisited 2001. No, those emotions are every bit as alive in you today as they were when President Bush was officially declared the winner. You still haven't accepted it.
And I have no intention of accepting it. It's like someone telling you that to accept that your child has been murdered. You just wouldn't do it.
The loss...
Don't say loss. I did not lose. Call it a theft, a robbery, gross miscarriage of justice maybe, but not loss. Using a word like loss diminishes what transpired to such a level that I cannot stand by and allow it.
Mr. Gore, likening the events of the 2000 election to the murder of a child reveals just how traumatic that experience was for you. And I want you to know that I understand how deeply you were affected in many ways, particularly emotionally. In fact, I think at this point I have a better gauge of that than you do. Please allow me to explain what I mean. As a whole, Americans were impacted both by the immediate aftermath of the election, the court battles, the recounts, and the like, and by the final decision that resulted in George W. Bush being sworn in as president. Some people were pleased by the outcome, other people were disappointed, but no one was more directly affected negatively than you were. And the way that you responded to the outcome was much like that of a trauma victim. You were so overwhelmed with negative feelings that you did not have the psychological resources to evaluate, express, and resolve them at the time. Now, over the last 8 years or so, you've defended yourself from those feelings by using compulsions and obsessions to block out the pain. You don't believe you can handle it, even today. At this point, when you allow yourself to think about those events, or are prodded to do so, what you feel is anger bordering on rage. The feelings are so intense you lack much ability to sort them out and evaluate them. You're going to remain at the mercy of those unresolved feelings until you, as distasteful as it may seem to you, accept that George W. Bush won the election and you lost. Look, I realize you don't like me using words like won and lost. But the best way to overcome this trauma is to allow yourself to see the truth of what happened. Refusing to accept that you lost the election, experiencing overwhelming negative feelings every day, resulted in you wanting to run away from the pain. First, you began overeating to soothe and distract yourself. Then, you latched onto a cause that, while it had been important to you previously, it became an obsessive endeavor.
You mean that the reason I constantly think about the dire consequences of global warming is because I don't want to think about being cheated out of the presidency?
That's not exactly right. I think the reason you turn the global warming passion into a global warming obsession is because you don't want to think about having lost the election, not having been cheated out of the presidency. Losing was and still is too painful for you to accept. Now, forgive the directness, but your ego was too big for defeat. And you were surrounded by a bunch of yahoos running around trying to make you the winner rather than having the courage to tell you that you were the loser. You prefer to use all sorts of euphemisms and excuses to explain away the outcome. But that approach only serves to keep the pain alive inside of you and to keep you dependent upon compulsions and obsessions to defend you. Perhaps you're getting closer to relinquishing the obsession and accepting the truth of the past decade.
But the implications...
Please continue. You said, but the implications, and then stopped. I'd like to hear how you're going to end that sentence.
But the implications are that if I'd been using global warming as an obsession, that I'm overstating the importance of it for my own psychological purpose. And that means I might be directing national and international policy based on my psychological weakness and not for what is the true good of the country. What do I do now?
Well, one course of action is to continue as is. But to do that, you'd probably have to increase obsessing, because now you have this additional truth to keep from your awareness. Another course of action is to acquire the therapeutic help you need so that you can accept this truth of your loss, realizing that losing does not make you a worthless person, and accept that you become a bigger-than-life persona in the global warming field as a way to protect yourself from your pain and to present yourself as a worthy and important person and change the errors of your ways, so to speak.
Change the error of my ways.
Kind of like go and sin no more. You said that the implications of this revelation is that you were using global warming for personal psychological purpose, and that you may be leading the nation and the world down a path that is more for your convoluted psychological and personal good than for the national or international benefit. If after further discussion and reflection you determine that's true, I assume you would consider discontinuing that behavior. What do you think?
Can't imagine giving it all up. I mean, I've got contracts, books, movies, speaking engagements.
You know, it's often difficult and sometimes costly to do the right thing. You came to me to gain relief from the ruminations. Your course is quite clear. If you want to free yourself from the obsession, accept yourself and live an honest life. If that's what you want, I'll be pleased to continue to work with you to achieve those goals.
Yes, of course, that's what I want.
Stay warm, Mr. Gore.
I'm going to try. I hope this cold snap ends soon.